do not want to hire anybody from Home Depot because you don't know nothing about the guy. We don't know what intentions they have, what kind of track record they have, whether they have been working, doing a job, completing jobs, or scamming other people. You have no clue about it. So going to Home Depot and finding somebody who's standing there, it is just inviting more problems into your life. You much rather hire somebody who's going to charge you more, who's got a track record. They usually complete the job faster. That's the thing. If you are on a short-term loan of 6 months, 7 month, a 1 year loan, a hard money loan, you're paying 8, 9, 10, 11, 12% interest rate. You're losing money every day, not finishing up the project faster. I did understood that, but I kept hiring the wrong people. I knew that I needed to finish the project faster. I just didn't have a clue of on how to handle something correctly, how to sequence everything right to make sure that you have all the material and the source where you're buying your material from. At the time, there was no Amazon. That's 2015. At least I was not using Amazon to buy anything for my work. Today, I put everything in my cart that I need for my new rental property that I am trying to work on, and have everything ready. The moment I close on the house, and same thing goes for Home Depot. Some stuff I buy from Home Depot, some stuff I had to buy from Amazon, and sometimes you have to buy some specialty item from elsewhere, like for appliances, which you cannot find on Amazon. But I keep all of these things in my cart before I even close on a property. And as soon as I close on it, I get a clear to close email. I order this stuff. Remember, I do keep a lot of big stuff like appliances, material for the flooring and the paint and then the mud and then the tools. We keep all that in our storage unit. We always have that available. But what we do not buy is specialty items like what kind of sink we're going to install here, what kind of countertop we're going to install here, what kind of cabinets we're going to install here. All this stuff is ready for me in my cart, and I only pay for it as soon as I close on the property. I may be spending $5,000, $10,000 in just supplies, small items, the door hinges, the door handles, the cabinet, the cabinetry, the countertop, the fans, the electrical, the outlets, the switches, the everything small. I keep it in the cart. I don't pay for it until I have received a confirmation from the title company that you have successfully closed on the property. And as soon as I do, the stuff is ordered, and then my crew starts the demo the next day. By the time they are done with the demo in a day or two, cleaned up the place, removing all the popcorn ceiling, all the texture on the wall, they are ready to throw texture on the wall and start painting. All the stuff starts to show up on the property where they are working, while they are working. So I don't have to keep running around. This was the mistake I did. I would have to go to Home Depot at least 15 times a day to bring small stuff. Why? Because the guy I hired was charging me $20 an hour, and his objective was to keep this guy busy, and he nailed it. I was running around going from Home Depot and Lowe's and Florida Core and all these other places all day long, and I was not really understanding why my project was not moving faster, because the guys I hired was working, making money by the hours, and they kept me busy going from store to store. And sometimes when I come back, they're like, yeah, I mess up on this one, let me redo it, this is going to take me 10 minutes. Well, it took all day to fix what mistake he did. He tiled one of the shower, and he forgot to move the valve in the correct place, and he has to cut through all that hardy board and tile, and he has to retile everything just because he made a mistake. And I didn't know any better, so I went through that whole process of making the mistakes, paying people money to make mistakes, and I was bearing it. And I was struggling with so much stuff back then that I could not hold on to it. And that's why I kept doing a lot of stuff by myself, because I just didn't justify myself paying somebody else to do that kind of money when I was able to buy a right tool. Thought I would just buy a jackhammer and remove all the hardwood flooring because they were glued to it. Well, you also are handling call from your business. You're also taking personal calls. You're also going to store. And the real work I was really able to put into some days was like maybe a couple hours of real work. Rest of the time I was just running between the store, going and getting something to eat. I was always tired. And this is 2015, my first rental property. While I was doing that, I finally found an electrician who could do the electrical work for me. Don't forget about the cabinets. I'm going to get into that. So the electrician pulled the permits, got the work started, but then when City of Austin came for inspection, they failed inspection. He wrote up, and then he also wrote up, the inspector wrote up that an electrician A master electrician needs to be here for inspection. And at the time, and I think today too, City of Austin never shows up on time. And so the electrician has to sit there charging you by the hours, sometimes a couple $100 an hour. At least back in the days, that's what they used to charge. And they're just and you're just sitting there and waiting for them. And the inspector is going to show up when it's going to show up. They never show up on exact time. They said they will show up. Sometimes not even a 3 hour window. And that happened, and the guy left, and the inspection didn't happen when the inspector came out, and it kept rescheduling and rescheduling and rescheduling and reschedule. And guess what? That permit still open on that one house. Never closed it. So you see, one mistake leads to another mistake, leads to another big mistake, and it just piles up. Even if I was going to sell that house, I don't think I could sell it because at the time I could close it now, but we are not worried about it because we have somebody living there, and it's not really bothering us anymore. But unless and until I close that permit, I cannot sell that house. And I wasn't really sure about how to handle that. And back in the days, I was just not able to get the correct information. I was not part of the correct group. I did not knew anybody. I know enough to solve any problem now. And dealing with these problems now is really piece of cake, to be honest. But it was a big challenge back then. So that happened. So those permits, that one permit that we pulled is still open. In fact, we didn't even pull the permit for electrical work that the inspector wrote us up on. So he wrote us up on a lot of stuff. We never pulled permit for that, and the permit's still open, and whatever they wrote us up on, we finished everything, but the inspection never happened. Everything's safe, everything's secure. Inspection never happened. Could not happen because we put in a tenant, and after that there was no need to close the permit until we actually decide to sell the house. So that happened. Another big mistake. Cabinets. We demoed everything. All the old cabinets were bad, but when we had to put in new cabinets, my option was to only get custom cabinets, to get somebody to come in and make boxes. So I had the guy who was the brother of the guy who was making the $20 an hour on my own property and killing time. So that guy came in, picked up some money, and started making stuff, started sharing some pictures. And then halfway through the job, he disappeared. He stopped answering calls. He stopped answering message, and his excuse was, I quoted you the wrong price. So he left the project halfway through. That one cabinet job was my last job I had. I got it custom made, and after that I never went for custom cabinets. So if today I need cabinets on a house, I go straight to a supplier in Austin. They would come measure everything. We give them the deposit so they can order those cabinets, because obviously they don't carry all the cabinets with them. Sometimes they are missing some pieces or the other, but we pay them half the deposit. They bring in all the cabinets into their shop, and they get it delivered into our shop. And they are RTA cabinets, so they come in packages. They assemble everything. They don't actually manufacture them, but these are very fine cabinets. I love these. They have very nice finish, and they will assemble it in their shop, and they will deliver on my property. And then I would hire somebody or one of their guys to install all them for me. So the whole process of, hey, which material you want, which color you want, and what kind of finish you want, and whether you want it stained, whether you want it painted, and when are you available for me to do assembly, and who's going to install it, because the guy who was making the cabinets like, yeah, I don't install cabinets, I only make them. So you see, there's so much more you can avoid if you just buy the RTA cabinets ready made on the shelf. You bring them in, whether it is vanity, whether it is cabinet, or the shelvings. Or never get custom cabinet, not for rental properties. If you want to get custom cabinets, you better have a lot of room for mistakes and time to fix them, because that's going to happen. So I moved away from getting RTA, from getting custom cabinets to RTA cabinets, and till today I have not had any problem with it. And those cabinets are great if they assemble right. You have to be careful when you are assembling them, so that's why I don't want one of my team to assemble them. And they take time too, and it's cabinetry, so if you don't do it right, you are starting to crack and damage those cabinetry. So I let the guys who are reselling this product, they assemble them, they deliver them, and sometimes they install them. So the whole process of going through this 3-4 month process of ordering cabinets to all the human factors that are associated with getting the cabinet ready are all gone. Hey, you want You want to do faster, you want to get quality stuff, the RTA cabinets are the way to go.